Do you want to tell me what you think about your birthday? We noticed last episode that I thought you were significantly older than me. I thought you were several years older than
Which
me.
is utter bullshit because I am months older than you. I am not significantly older than you. So take that back immediately.
You know, back when we were in high school, class of '98. Woo woo.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
were you? What were you? What were
Yeah,
you?
class of 98.
No, you were not.
I was too. I'm
But you're significantly older than me. You can't be.
not significantly older than you. F you.
And it was live. We noticed it because I like so seriously was like, oh, we were talking about like when we graduated high school, and I was like, I'm class of '98, woo woo, and I'm like, Kelly, tell me when you were, and I assumed literally, I've known Kelly for 20 years. I was like, oh, she's gonna be class of '96, not even '97, but
Shit.
'96.
Well, it's been and grant it's because I just was so accomplished by the time we met. I mean, I started my radio career when I was 18.
It
So
really was the comfort. So it is a little bit of an offsetting situation now because for 20 years, I've even said it in episodes, but I guess you didn't catch it or we didn't understand what I was saying. I have said in episodes before, I was like, oh, she's like my older sister who I could, you know what I mean? Like, it is like
well, and I
not
guess I
real.
didn't I mean,
You,
technically, sure, but I mean, calm down. I'm not that much older.
and by the way, you all who are hating on me and loving on Kelly, I just want to tell you that it's not about her and age at all. It's about my comfort when I met this friend 20 years ago. Like
Right.
she was just somebody who, and referring to your career, that was such a go getter that I just was like, oh, she got to be a couple years older. Or maybe I got that misconstrued and, I took the.
Well, maybe because I had been in radio already for a few years, and then I came in, and then I got promoted to be sort of like a supervisor and like all that. So you automatically think, okay, well, that person's probably older, which is always, which was always my issue throughout my career. Which is funny, is because I always looked so young, and I would be
Mm.
in these positions, and I always, got put into different categories that way because of that. So that's why I was making fun of you because ages like that ageism has always been a thing on one
Mm.
side or the other for me. Because it's like they either treat me like a kid and I have to be like, yo, I didn't just graduate yesterday. Back up. I know what I'm doing. Or no, I'm not that old. Slow down. Don't
Um,
age me so much.
well, as a reflection that has nothing to do with you, you know how like in now the generation now they kind of, oh, be quiet, you don't know what you're saying, you're dusty, you're old. That's what a lot of the younger people say. What's
Yeah.
really weird, and I think we've talked about this before, and we'll move on because we've got a jam-packed show and we're going to make our show shorter. Um, what's interesting is like for me, I actually enjoyed being around people that were a couple years older. I felt like there was tutelage that I could extract from them, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And it's just so odd that now somebody older than you, they're like, "Oh, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. You dusty." Da da da. Whereas for me, it had never been like that. So that's a credit to you. I looked at you. Who have we had on the show? We've had Jordan, DJ Shaky's been on our show a couple times. Same thing. He's a couple years older than me, and I always like look to him as that older brother. And so I
Hmm.
did it to you, but I gave you credit that you didn't deserve
Hey, no.
because we're so close in age after all.
Yeah, I mean, we're what? Maybe like what is it? 9 months difference or something?
No,
I
way
can't
less than
do.
that. We're like 4 months different.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, no, because you just turned 42, right?
Mhm.
So you're going to be 42 for a whole nother 9 months before you turn 43, and I'm about to be 43 Saturday.
Oh, well, you look good. You look good, girl.
Well,
Um,
what's funny is I was randomly talking to an old friend of mine, which I told you the story about this guy before. Um, but I had a falling out with a friend over this guy in particular, which is so funny. But I haven't seen him in a long time, and he randomly messaged me uh, yesterday, and then
oh.
we were talking today, just kind of catching up. But we celebrated one of my birthdays together 11 years ago. And it
Oh
was
my gosh.
11
Time
years ago
flies.
at like this bar in downtown LA. And I was just like, one, I can't believe I'm already in my 40s. And two, I can't believe that my birthday's on Saturday. And like I spent a birthday with you 11 years ago. And we were just cracking up and laughing about We had like this hysterical, ridiculous way that we met each other, which I don't even know how we're still friends because it was so embarrassing. And
Uh,
that's like a Patreon story. But
yeah. One day we're gonna get to
one
our
day.
Patreon and really give you a show.
Because he was reminding me of that night, that fateful night that we met. That's so horribly embarrassing to me. How we're still friends, I will never know because he thinks it's hilarious, but I'm mortified by it. But it's just funny that it just like in this week, it's just funny how time just really flies. And and I've said it a bunch of times, just being reflective now that I'm in my I'm like officially like deep in my 40s now, and just reflecting back on things. And it's funny to think about that night 11 years ago when we were at this little bar in downtown LA. It's just kind of funny.
I'd like to do an episode at some point on like your going out patterns in your 20s and your 30s and your 40s, and how
Mm.
it's like my question is it actually like is it actually magic when you have all these exciting stories from your 20s and your 30s, or is it just bad decision making that leads to like a really great time? Because I feel like I'm enjoying my 40s, I really really am,
Mhm.
but I just don't have a lot of these magic stories that I would have in my 20s and early 30s. So
Right,
um,
yes.
and
Well, I
it
think it's
doesn't.
the fearlessness when you're in your 20s and 30s. It's either that or you're so stressed out that you go balls to the wall on the one night you have out, which
Mm.
was usually my deal, was because I was always working all the time. And then on the off chance that I would be able just to go out, it would be insane and totally inappropriate and ridiculous. And I would have like the best time doing the most ridiculous things and just kind of chalk it up. Like if I don't remember, it didn't happen, whatever.
We'll break that down. We're gonna break down going out patterns, nightlife versus being young and enjoying it versus getting a little bit older. That's something I want to talk about in a future episode, maybe like a couple episodes down the road. Kellie, if we
Yeah.
can, and we got a great show. See, once we're in the show, we're good. It's just that damn intro. Hi, Kellie. Tell me how you think. But wait a minute, I mean, what am I, Casey
Well, the show is
Kasem?
all about Sagittarius, so there's not a better topic than
Before, yes,
Sagittarius.